This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, it's 6:01 p.m. and I'd like to call to order the August 10th meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. This meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission will be conducted in person and remotely online to the greatest extent possible. Should an interruption occur in which the online meeting ends abruptly, both the in-person and online meeting will not be restarted. All agenda items will be automatically continued to the next scheduled meeting. Any other?
I didn't get a chance. I apologize because I got here just in the nick of time. I do have to leave at about 7:15.
Excellent. Thank you.
We will be done by 7:12.
All right.
Every time you say the meeting's gonna be quick, something happens, so you gotta be careful of that,
So we do have some members online if you want to.
Right. So is there any public concerns or non-agenda items?
If you'd like to, if you have a question or a concern, you're welcome to unmute and begin talking.
All right, public hearings. We have a request for a certificate of compliance for 65 Lovefield Street.
Yeah. And I will go ahead and project that request. So just to catch the commissioners up, I think almost everyone, perhaps besides for Heather, has been here since this project was worked on and completed, but it was a riverfront redevelopment project that involved a restoration area as required under riverfront redevelopment standards, and it included 3 years of monitoring reports required of their riverfront restoration area. So the commission issued a partial certificate of compliance for the actual construction of the property and the stabilization of the site, barring the final 2 years of monitoring reports. And then I know last fall we reviewed the second monitoring report, and this is the third monitoring report, and they are now requesting the full certificate of compliance. So the requirement here is for 75% establishment of native vegetation. It's not a wetland replication, so we're not looking for wetland plants in particular. We're just looking for good establishment of native vegetation in a vegetated area. And that is what Patrick Lord, the applicant's consultant, outlines in this report, as well as images of the site. Anju and I did look at the site today, so you can see my images, but this is the area. It's just to the left. You're standing on the street and looking at the property, 65 Lovefield. I will note that just for, as the commission, as we watch this property over time, there is definitely bittersweet pressure to the left from outside of the riverfront restoration area, which I know will be a challenge to keep out of this area. It's outside of the purview of the particular riverfront restoration area. But we hope that, continued invasive management is part of their order, and hopefully that continues on site. So they did do a number of plantings, as well as quite a bit of seed mixes, and it appears to be well established. Commissioners remember the site.
Definitely.
Yeah. The mitigation planting areas right here. So Anju and I went out there and confirmed that the images that were included, there's an image of the bittersweet that's approaching the site just off. It's quite a bit. The site itself looks good. Hopefully the site has a bit of a head start That's to the side, fall like along the perimeter of the property, not actually in the mitigation area, but just we had it marked, please.
Are those signs for where the ordinance?
Edge of limit of work
Yes.
approved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember if we
Yeah, we did
did.
that. We asked them to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was invasive species management on any conditions,
I believe,
like ongoing?
yeah, I believe it is noted in their order as an in perpetuity condition. So we can check. Yep.
So but that's just sort of like, do they? The new owners, but if they know, then that's.
Okay, but that condition is just for using non-invasive.
There's,
Looking at 56.
yeah, look
Okay,
down
that's
at
not what I should
59.
look at. Okay,
I guess I just wonder, like, if it's worth, since it's new owners, and even though they probably went over it all when they bought the house, like, if it's worth sending an email back to Patrick Lord and saying, could you just remind the owner that this is an in perpetuity condition around the bittersweet?
right, right. Yeah, certainly.
So we don't have any sort of plan if we have all these conditions, property is sold. It doesn't automatically go to the new owners.
The order of conditions, well, so the certificate of compliance will mention the in perpetuity conditions by number. We could actually list it. That could be something the commission decided to do. Like we could list if that would be, I believe, I drafted up the certificate of compliance, but we could in here, I wrote the attachment B conditions 54 through 59.
Mhm.
And so that will be included, as an active part of their deed, as an active restriction on their deed, all the in perpetuity conditions. We could consider, I think we could consider saying, particularly, does that feel in alignment with what the commission wants to do and actually like drop in the language of condition 59? Or we could send a separate note, not to be recorded with the deed, but to the property owner.
Okay.
I would send a note, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's.
Because when I bought my house, I don't remember a damn thing I signed. There's so many things to sign that day, and who knows what
Yeah.
I read or didn't read.
I could even send it to them with their COC, copy of the COC.
Have no concerns. I think we could go ahead as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed. No washout from recent rain events or anything like that. Everything looks pretty
No,
stable.
the site is quite stabilized. It
Yeah.
has been now.
It has been. So
Yeah.
we've seen it recently. So that's why it's so, okay. So we need a motion to issue a CFC for 65 Lovefield Street.
I'll move to issue a certificate of compliance for 65 Wellfield Street.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And there is a copy of the COC in the,
Big folder.
exactly, yeah, that you all can sign while we're here.
In the top.
You-
Thank you.
So I see Brian's online, so do we want to take that out of order, or is it on the?
We can take it out of order if you'd like, or yeah, we can take it out of order if you'd like.
Can I get a motion to take Casey Top out of order?
I move that we take AC top agenda item out of order.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, so Brian's here and can present this or jump on in, Brian, if I get anything wrong here. But we just had a site visit earlier today, so can outline the change request that Tasty Top has illustrated. We Hal and Jay and Sarah were at the site visit, and so we can all jump in here. But essentially, and this is the last report from Greg Russo, the commission's Weston and Sampson consultant. And they identified a location after that multi-inch rain event that we had relatively recently, where there was some water making it through in a high velocity manner that was eroding past the level spreader. Weston and Sampson calls it, where does he say it here? Says he would not consider it a discharge. Let's see if he writes that in here. Water level. The silt fence has not been breached and the water leaving the level spreader is relatively clean. The amount of water running down the slope is causing erosion and sedimentation off-site. So just to take a look at what that looks like. We're coming off of this basin, F3 here. And here's the discharge, the outlet from F3. And here's the level spreader from F3. Here's our silt fence. It's been shored up with the stakes and the wattles. And here's our location of erosion.
So is this going over the silt fence?
No,
Under.
underground.
Right, right. That's what it looks like to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You
that's
can
a sign of that.
see kind of there's a it's like a chunk here and then that doesn't as not as eroded, and then down here at the roots in the root systems, it's like it seems as though the water is making its way underneath there. There's Sarah for size context.
For sale, for size, yeah. Yeah.
Was quite a gully washer.
Quite a gully washer.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Guess what? Yeah. 3 inches and
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It was a lot of rain.
yeah,
It was a lot of rain. It was a lot of rain.
yeah.
So Brian, do you want to speak to the commission about different options that you and Greg discussed in the field?
Yeah, can you guys hear me? When I met with Greg on site last week, really the only conclusion that either of us felt that would work properly would be to kind of infill this small channel with like a 6-inch riprap from the back side of the silt fence down to the toe of the slope. That's kind of where the vegetation thickens in that photo. We figured it's about 8 to 10 feet down the hill. That would provide a long-term stabilization. Basically what's happening is the silt fence is detaining the water and the low point beyond the silt fence is essentially causing some channelization that I don't think will occur long-term. Once the silt fence is gone, it'll let the level spreader function properly. But the way that the silt fence is retaining the water and letting it out at one low point is it's causing this little bit of channelization. So we felt just protecting the slope with some riprap would be a good interim and a long-term solution.
So if they put in the riprap, are they gonna remove it after everything is done, or it stays?
The proposal is to leave it.
Because it will, I asked this because like, I was like, well, how are you gonna get under the tree roots? And everyone said, well, the rocks will go down, they'll settle and they'll make their way down under the tree roots. And that's actually what will help stop the problem, but you can't really go in like 2 years later and dig all those rocks out. You'll just cause the problem all over. Be worse, so.
So does it cause any problem in the buffer zone?
So we're in buffer zone right here. We're quite close to the resource area. This is the delineation from prior to the project beginning. So we're not actually in the resource area, but we're just a few feet away.
Right there.
Is this basin getting runoff from completed construction areas, or is this from portions of the site that are like open and disturbed and still in construction, or is it a mixture, or what?
As of last week, it's substantially completed construction. I say as of last week because we put the pavement down on the second phase of the roadway. Most of like the curb backing up is still starting vegetation, but the bulk of the site that feeds it is vegetated or paved at this point. And that's going to continue to improve as we get into fall here and everything starts taking off.
It's taking the water from the area close up to the bank is what is subsurface connected to this project.
Yeah.
The bank, like
The
financial
Greenfield Savings Bank. Yeah, we do this every time. Yeah.
Yes.
The Greenfield Savings Bank, not the bank of the intermittent stream.
Yeah, so that pond's capturing the parking lot from the bank up front and the first 2/3 of the roadway go into that, and then just a little bit of the field is running off to it naturally. So it is pretty well stabilized, and like I said, other than kind of the landscaping of the berms and the islands, which should be done pretty shortly, everything is stabilized.
But they haven't built the actual apartment buildings back there yet. That part of the construction is another phase. So.
But that area is stabilized or or approaching stabilization. They've stabilized it with grass seed where they're intending to build the buildings.
Do you want to put pictures up from today, just to show Dan the
where they're at.
So what storm frequency is that? Are we supposed to get a flow out the discharges?
These are detention basins, so essentially all storm events will have a discharge. They're not infiltration only, so that they all have an outlet by design.
Where my mind is going is, I'm also a civil engineer. Riprap is civil engineers duct tape. And sometimes it's the only thing for something, but especially get it through construction. But if it really is a kind of a construction condition, then I might reserve my opinion on if there's a better post-construction measure that could be added, like once everything's sorted out to try to better stabilize it. And maybe it's just not the case, right? But
You're imagining like the option of filling in with loam and trying to seed it.
possibly, yeah, something like that.
We had talked about that this morning on site, and just given the way that the water is coming around the silt fence, like I said, the silt fence is what's channelizing the water right now. And I think that the water is also going subterranean and coming out that root ball a little bit. So I think anything we do with loam and seed and like a jute mat is probably not going to succeed in the interim. It could succeed once the silt fence is gone, but that's kind of not logical. I think putting the riprap in there to protect it in the interim and then just allow it to naturalize with time, it'll disappear.
And we have a challenge here, right? It will be years before that side of the site is completed.
Dan, do you think the riprap will cause a problem?
No. Not from like a. It's
The additional impact of of buffer zone close to the
right.
resource area.
It's additional impact, and it starts looking kind of like, so the level spreader is to, distribute the flow of the outlet of the stormwater basin, so it doesn't like cause a erosion issue, and so there's not like a direct point source discharge to the resource area, but putting in riprap slope protection, it starts to kind of like look like it starts to either look like a point source discharge, or then if in the future water starts, kind of flowing other ways, it might, it sees the riprap, says, I'm not going to erode there, but I'm going to start eroding next to it or whatever. So it could just lead to different things down the line.
Ryan, I'm curious. I mean, in addition to what Dan is saying, the only thing I'm also wondering about is you're saying that it is due to the silt fence that the spreader isn't really working to prevent the erosion because of the pressure on where it's all piling up there. But how do you, that's a hypothesis, right? So you don't really know if you took the silt fence away. We don't quite know if the level spreader would work in that way or not.
What I can tell you is the level spreader where I'm standing in the picture, that stone band is, purely level. So the runoff is leaving the level spreader as it's intended. But when we get a period of high flow, the silt fence is retaining that water and slowing it down. And it essentially settles to the area you can see in the photo right in front of where I'm standing, which is the low point of the silt fence line beyond. So if the water were allowed to sheet flow without the impediment of the silt fence, it would roll over that bank the way it's designed. But what we've seen when I've been out there during inspections is it's just ponding up in the low point of the silt fence.
But if it's stabilized or becoming stabilized, once they remove the silt fence, can't we do something alternative like Dan is saying?
I think the concern is that the time until that whole portion of the site is fully stabilized is quite there's going to be temporary stabilizations while they pause in one location on the project and they work on a different location. But I don't think we would be comfortable removing the silt fencing that protects from, from sedimentation and erosion broadly into the resource area from an active construction zone until we get closer to.
Is there any other way besides the two? Rip wrap and
Instead of a cell fence, if it was like a compost filter tube that where water's going over it, and it distributes better. It's not filtering per se, but I mean, you can kind of see.
So they've got double wattles here.
Oh, they're double wattles. Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. I mean, it's like there's some staining on the cell fence, but it's like half a cup full of very fine silt. That's like not that huge of an environmental, issue, I don't think, but I don't know. But probably for that storm, it was like up over like that. Did the water go over the wattles?
I've seen it above. I've seen it above the wattles. Yeah, I would be hesitant to go the compost tube route just because the height we need to catch those surges after the rainfall. The silt fence is doing what it's supposed to in those cases.
It does seem like a chicken and the egg thing. Like it's not ideal to use the riprap, and if we use the riprap, we can't get it out later. If we try to put soil down, it won't stay.
A jute mat with soil may not last one of these storms.
Right. So
will this continue in other areas? Like we fix this with riprap and then down the road, there's another area and we have the same issue. Is it going to be consistent?
Brian, are you seeing this issue at any of the other level spreaders?
We haven't yet. As I mentioned in the field today, this was a natural low point on the property, which is why we located the level spreader there. So I think that there's been a long-standing flow of water to this area, and we haven't seen any signs of it channelizing at the silt fence elsewhere. I think we were asking for a 4 or 5 foot wide section of riprap extending maybe 8 to 10 feet beyond the silt fence to prevent this from getting any further along. But I don't think we're going to push the problem elsewhere. I think we're going to let the channel be where it is, but protect it with the riprap so that it doesn't erode further.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's a localized situation. That's all. It doesn't look like if you do this, it's going to move next door. It's always going to be here. This is the low point. Questions, concerns? Good.
Yeah. All right.
We need a motion for a minor change. Is that the?
motion for minor change at 9395 Northampton Street to install 5 foot wide, 8 to 10 foot long strip of riprap. That's the point that we've been discussing tonight as a minor change.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
I'll send that over in a memo to you, Brian, and we'll update the final plans of record folder.
Sure, and I'll let you know when it's implemented.
Thank you.
Brian, thanks for tuning in tonight. It helps.
I did. Thank you very much.
Brian.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, enforcement actions, anything we need to talk about?
No enforcement actions.
Fantastic. Open space.
Open space. I have an update. I did finally, this took me a little while, my apologies, but I did draft up an MOU between the Boy Scouts and the Conservation Commission. And they reviewed that and it suited them fine. I have a meeting. Did the commissioners see this in the ongoing project updates document? So just to revisit, just to remind the commission, the Boy Scouts are taking over some collaborative stewardship responsibilities in exchange for overnight use of Camp Cook. That's kind of one way to put it.
Okay.
They're gonna do some overnight camping on the property and manage, help us care for this parcel that the city owns, the 16-acre parcel at the end of Highland Ave. So I tried to just sort of draft this between based on what I've seen other municipalities have with these kinds of organizations that engage in like specific conservation areas. Just essentially laying out that it can be used by anyone during public daylight hours, but overnight camping shall be restricted to parties approved of this MOU or amendments. My thought with the amendments is that we could draft up a similar MOU if there's another organized group that is going to be a reoccurring user of the Camp Cook property. And that they can use campfires, and that parties with proof of the MOU for overnight use shall just provide email notification to us at least 72 hours in advance of planned arrival. And they will do responsibility for trash, vegetation corridor maintenance, manual removal. I can include that in here. I don't think anyone's going to be spraying herbicides with children, but of invasive species. And then any proposed structures or substantial, I think maybe I want to say substantial.
I'm not proposing these structures or anything. It's a camping site, right?
Right. I'm just thinking about or maybe proposed structures or new trails. Thinking must be prior approved by us at a regularly scheduled meeting. And then also, so they are preparing, I think they will be building some picnic tables.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah. Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, things like that. So I figured we just want to stay in the loop.
Perfect.
Does a picnic table or tent platform count as a structure?
I list them here. Do we want to be updated on those?
Picnic tables, nah. Tent platforms, yeah, probably.
All right.
It's kind of my feeling. I don't know about anybody else.
Right, and those have to be approved by the health department.
They probably would. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So such as picnic table, such as tent platforms, backcountry privies. Yeah. Well, yeah, we would just be one of the avenues there.
Okay.
But like kiosks, we think kind of in the same category as picnic tables. We don't need to be notified.
Well, maybe we want to see what on the kiosk.
Yes, we have a meeting with an Eagle Scout tomorrow
perfect.
who's planning on building us a kiosk,
That's
planning on building a kiosk
That's
for
perfect.
the entrance, the
Okay.
front of the site.
Right.
So
That's perfect.
and then we'll have an opportunity to think about what we want to put on the kiosk
Okay.
in collaboration with the Boy Scouts.
Nice,
Yeah. Okay.
nice.
Kind of feel like if it goes in the ground or it takes, or doesn't fit on the back of a truck, then we want to probably give the okay. But if it's,
So then do you
should
want
put that in?
Do you want kiosk in here then? Goes in the ground?
yeah, you wanna,
All right.
Any ground disturbance
Yeah.
or
you wanna pick out where kiosk, where to go. And
maybe one language.
they should probably call it a big safe ticket too, or
No.
something like that. No, they're supposed to call it big safe for
For everything. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
big gas line there. I want to blow up some Boy Scouts.
Okay.
Do we need to put anything about the hunting thing?
No, because we talked about that. This is just an MOU between the Boy Scouts and the Conservation Commission. So I did do a sweep around the property a number of weeks ago and saw that those blinds are gone. So that neighbor who had said he was going to call Fish and Wildlife
Right.
to get the blinds gone, I think either the hunter themselves tuned into our meeting, got the flyer, whatever, took them down, or somehow that happened. So the hunting blinds are gone. We have not yet put up our bow hunting only signs. That's not really a standard sign. So I'll have to figure out exactly what to do with that. I'll have to make us a custom sign, a custom decal. If anyone knows,
The kiosk. Yeah.
for the kiosk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we could just put something on the kiosk now that we'll have a kiosk rather than marking the whole property.
Right.
post it.
Well, Kelly Ritchie says a lot of people come from the other side,
Okay, so maybe
and so
we
they
do
will
want
never
it.
see the kiosks if they're hunting there, so.
Okay, so
I
maybe
guess I
we
was
do want it.
thinking more of the actual Boy Scouts practicing using bows there. If we, like, and like
They
limits of
clarified that-
liability or anything.
Yeah, they clarified that they're only allowed to do target practice like at an approved range per Scouting America. So
Okay.
that's not the kind of activity they would be doing out
It's more
there.
about hunters that use the property that come in
Right,
from
right,
different
right,
directions, yeah.
But I'm more thinking of the city's liability,
Right.
safety stuff.
Yeah. I believe we should be covered by, recreational use statute, but I can add a note in here to confirm if there's any additional liability language.
There were so many pieces of trash that were. Is
Yeah,
that something they're gonna do voluntarily or?
that's what we hope for. Yeah.
Okay.
That they
Yeah, they said they would remove whatever, everything goes up, so. And they'll take whatever they bring it out, so.
Right.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Connecticut River Conservancy source to sea cleanup is like the end of September-ish, so this might be a cool site, to if the Boy Scouts wanted to sign up with CRC to,
Okay.
I don't know,
It's not a bad idea to get it more official.
right? Yeah, and then other people could come and help clean it up if they wanted to too. Like, I think there is a site in Easthampton, like out in Arcadia,
Okay.
one of my coworkers have been running forever, but yeah, this might be a worthwhile spot to
Yeah,
get
nice.
other people to help out with.
Definitely.
That's a good idea. Any other ideas for the MOU? Things should be added.
It looks good.
All right,
Yeah,
great.
good, thanks.
So as I said, I'm meeting with the Eagle Scout tomorrow, Logan, and then I am meeting with the Scout leader, troop leader, Scout leader, troop leader.
Leader, Scout leader, yeah, Eric?
Maybe they're Matt.
Matt, okay,
Matt.
okay.
I'm meeting with him I believe later this month on
Okay.
the site. So
Right,
I'll get to
perfect.
hear a little
Okay.
more about their immediate plans.
Perfect, yeah,
And it'll be good to have this familiar.
nice.
All right. That's all I have. There are some other things coming down the pike for open space, but updates will be coming in coming meetings. So
Perfect.
stay tuned.
Okay, all right. Compliance updates.
Yeah, I got a couple. So we just did Tasty Talk. I am gonna update you all on the Nashawanic Pond platform. And I'll just note that it's in progress. I don't see any issues from a Conservation Commission perspective, but there were just some concerns noted from a construction perspective,
Okay.
of it being, as established. I think the 3-inch rain event that we all got, really tested,
Oh, yeah, sure.
tested sites, I think, all across.
Yeah.
Third party. Did you have any sites tested,
Yes.
Mr. Butcher? Yes. So it pointed out the weaknesses in our site, in the site, and there was definitely some erosion along the wall. You can see what the wall looks like now. So GZA, it's cool. I will
Yeah, it's
just
nice.
zoom out and
Yeah,
say
it's
it's
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
It's coming in. No discharge, no erosion,
Mhm.
sediment control issues into Nashawanic Pond. Everything very much contained on site, but you can see that just that there's some crevices that got washed
Sure.
clean,
Yeah.
and the stone dust moving around.
But there's a setting inside there where you could dig in and set it to,
I kind of like it.
half an hour. So
Why does some meetings did not happen at all? More
We don't
fidgety.
move.
Yeah.
We're not moving.
Yeah, and
It's not as usually the audience is all moving over and whispering.
The fidgety audience.
Yeah.
Right,
Like,
right. Yeah.
You need to up the amplitude.
I know. 7 innings stretch.
So, this is what the site is looking like, and, so the city, the Parks Department, who is the project, proponent here, has contracted with GZA for construction monitoring and or construction oversight. And so they're the ones that are constructing, that are advising, working with the contractor here. So hopefully this will all get taken care of, and I'll have a better
Perfect.
wall. Trying to do it right the first time,
That
so we
looks
don't
good.
have further erosion issues. And then I wanted to talk about 26 Nashawanack Street. So I did draft up the order of conditions, the DOA, and the order of conditions per your conversation at the last Conservation Commission meeting. So a pretty standard DOA describing the project and issuing a negative determination type 3. I just outlined the 3 conditions here. This is what will get sent to DEP. Those were like the 3 kind of main special conditions that the commission required. But it is so I believe now these days when we have an RDA that we're issuing as a local order, we'll be doing we will be doing a positive determination type 5.
Oh boy.
The area or work described on reference plans and documents is subject to review and approval by the Easthampton Wetlands Protection Ordinance with the sections. It's located Article 9 section, these sections, and negative determination type 3.
3. Okay.
Or 3. Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Okay.
So I missed both hearings on the subject, so I won't be participating, but so the punchline is that they'll have to file under the ordinance, but not under the Wetland Protection Act, sounds like.
Yeah, so the punchline is that with projects that are buffer zone only projects, so I think we're gonna have a couple categories. I wanted to go through the condition set that I wrote up for this too, just so we all have a good understanding, and if there's anything you all want me to change with regards to the order of conditions. But we're going to have a couple new kinds of projects now that we have a wetlands ordinance. We're going to have projects that are buffer zone only projects to resource areas identified in the act, which I think is going to be or a mixture of resource areas identified in the act and not identified in the act, which is going to require an RDA per state law, but an order required by our buffer zone requirements. By considering the buffer zone a resource area. So in those circumstances, we're going to have an RDA and a local Form E NOI filing, which is what we had at 26 Nashawanack. We had a construction of a studio, an artist studio on helical piers in the buffer zone. And the commission worked with the applicant to get it outside of the inner buffer zone and meet the outer buffer zone requirements. And Commissioner Buttrick, I'll actually note for you that she ended up utilizing the stormwater mitigation standards that you outlined by building a fairly substantial rain garden, so to not have to apply for relief in the outer buffer zone through managing all of the stormwater from a 2-year rain event. But it did require some working with the applicant to convince her to move the studio outside of the buffer zone, which I felt as though watching you all from your last meeting went relatively well. The applicant initially wanted to put it in the inner buffer zone.
Definitely.
And I'm appreciative that they were flexible.
Right.
I think they get what we were trying to do with why.
Right.
That's good.
And so she, proposed the update is this outer buffer zone project. It's actually in the outer buffer zone of 2 resource areas. We can go ahead and look at my draft order of conditions now. So it's an approximately 450 square foot accessory residential structure on helical piers within the outer buffer zone of 2 distinct resource areas. Those 2 distinct resource areas are Nashawanack Pond, where it is 82 feet from the bank of Nashawanack Pond, and a bordering vegetated wetland to the west. It's about 85-90 feet. So she's got wetlands on the side of her property and she's got wetlands on the bottom of her property. And we found a location in the outer buffer zone of the 2 of them. And so pretty much the whole project is outer buffer zone impact, but it's mitigated by the design of the helical piers, allowing water to flow underneath the structure, and the approved construction of a 120-foot approximate rain garden to manage the roof runoff of the structure. So she did some research into rain gardens and had intended to build some kind of structure there. So pleased with, I felt like a good result that we got out of that, which means the performance standards that 12-118 4B, which is the standards of the buffer zone. We can look at that citation real quick, just because we're all getting used to it. So fun. So you now know if you Google our website, you all have hard copies, but if you click on Easthampton Wetlands Protection Ordinance,
What did you say it was? 12 what?
yeah, 12-118 4B. And then if you go on the website, voila, and then you click on the Easthampton Wetlands Protection Ordinance. So fun. This is linked. Love it. And then you go standards for buffer zones, go right to the section 12-118. Performance standards 4, 3, 4, and then B, this outer buffer zone, which is this, and she meets, she was meeting these 3 requirements.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
And what about the new determinations? How do we get to see what those are? You're saying this positive determination type 5.
Because it's relevant to a local ordinance.
Which we never had before, so
Right.
we always did, 3,
So where do we see those? Are there any other ones or just?
Well, we're saying that the area and work described, it just meets this, it meets this requirement. This is the work, the requirement, the checkbox of 5 of positive determination type 5 is the area or work described on the reference plans and documents is subject to review and approval by a wetlands ordinance or bylaw, which we said it was. We'll see if DEP says, because we did already complete that review, maybe that's not, maybe we're not supposed to say that.
I have no idea. Yeah.
You know, from your own filing experience.
Seen it before?
No, I just ignore bylaws.
He does restoration work.
I mean, if somebody has a problem, we'll hear
Mostly
about it.
joking.
Julie may have run across it also.
Yep. So just returning real quick to the order. So I just described the project kind of typical, and I add in our citations from our own wetlands protection ordinance, just like I would with the Wetlands Protection Act, that they meet the measures to mitigate climate change impact by adding considerable resilient plantings, which the commission recalls reviewing, I imagine, so that we approve no additional alteration to resource areas in either Wetlands Protection Act or our Wetlands Protection Ordinance. We've got our final plans of record. Okay, and then our goal with these orders of conditions was for them to be kind of snappy and like not as robust as our typical, which the idea was that for these local projects, we're really working on a different scale than we are with the typical kinds of projects that will require an order of conditions or that used to require an order of conditions. And so the hope was that we could really sort of condense it, which I know you all discussed those conditions. So I felt like these first 6 were just the conditions needed to be able to enter the site, and that providing a copy of the order. These are the conditions that start our typical orders of conditions. Is there anything in here you feel like could be removed, or I should shorten? Maybe 3 and 4 aren't needed. This is basically saying, the contractor needs to understand the order of conditions, which this is a project that will have a contractor.
But I think it's good to require that this document be provided to the contractor.
Right.
I mean, that's just everybody's due diligence.
I mean, maybe they could be combined and the language shrunk up a little, 3 and 4.
Do we, yeah, my eyes are terrible.
Oh, yeah, sorry, do you want me to blow it up?
Well, do we have like, do they have to have a copy on site? Copy on site.
Yeah.
A sign is nice, you know, so that if somebody wants to call you up and ask you for more information.
Yeah.
They have something to reference.
We haven't done the sign, so why don't we add that?
Yeah.
Installation. Typical sign. Okay. So back to 3 and 4. Is this big enough now?
Yep.
Do you want to just leave them? Should we combine them? Shall be included by reference.
I
Either
could
way,
leave them, whether.
So there are no in perpetuity conditions.
Well, that is a great question. So I didn't add any in here, and I think we should talk about that.
This gets recorded, right?
Yeah.
Do we have something there on that it, you know, conveys with the property to all successors and then.
Okay, yeah, you're so right. This needs to be recorded as a pre-construction condition. I'll find the language on that.
Perpetuity and all that
Yeah.
fun stuff.
All successors on the signs and.
Yeah. all that.
Yeah.
That's a pre-construction?
Well, it has to be recorded as a pre-construction, because that wasn't actually in there yet.
Yeah, so recording probably maybe goes here and then it carries forward to whoever maybe it goes up.
Purchase the property in the future
In
and
the first section.
Let me see what our actual language is on that.
Goes in, does something like that go in stormwater permits when there's no order of conditions, or we wouldn't even really know because we don't deal with them when it's, or no, maybe we've done
We
a couple.
do.
Yeah, we have done a couple.
Your question is what goes in is there something about like successors and assigns?
Yeah, do we have like canned language and stormwater permits that we would shoot without conditions? Or maybe we've forgotten in the stormwater permits, which is just.
Yeah, here it is. This permit, and just looking, this permit shall apply to any successor and controller, successor and interest of the property described by the DOA and accompanying plans.
Mhm.
This obligation shall be expressed in covenants to all deeds to succeeding owners of portions of the property.
Seems like it should be an in perpetuity condition.
Yep, let me pull up. See how it's written in our other. Okay. All right, but we still need the successors and the signs language. I could pull it from that, but I'm just trying to find out if we have something that's typically in our orders.
Okay.
I won't spend too much longer on this. The language we have, I think, in our typical orders is just this, is the responsibility of the permittee, their successors, and the signs to complete any review required by all agencies with jurisdiction of the activity that's the subject of the order, and procure all required permits and approvals. Do we like the language from the stormwater permit better? We're always kind of refining these, you know?
Right.
Do we like this permit shall apply to any successor in control or successor in interest of the property described?
That was so fast. I couldn't.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
sorry.
Brain.
Okay, so here's the one. I just pulled this from the skate park.
This is the stormwater one.
No, this is from an order of conditions for
Okay.
the skate park.
Yeah, that seems like great to me.
The other one.
Can we look at the other one? I think the other one's.
It might mean two different, so this is saying that the permit holder has to get all other permits that they might need.
Right. It
Yeah.
doesn't really mean that
Right.
this permit will be passed on.
Right,
Right.
right. That's what we want.
That makes sense.
I mean, I think, in the in perpetuity conditions. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if we. All right, so maybe we go with something mirroring the language from this permit. This order shall apply to any successor, control, or successor in interest of the property.
That's much clearer.
That makes more sense.
But I don't think we want the covenants in all deeds. It's gonna be on,
No,
it's gonna
just
be,
clean that up a little bit, but that's the idea.
Oh, so.
Smack dab in the head is a permit waiver.
There may be a cleaner statement out there somewhere.
It seems still legalese, but more user-friendly legalese.
okay, this order shall apply to any successor and control or successor in interest.
We ever had a city attorney look at a stormwater ordinance thing? It just popped into my head something about, if a court of law should find one element of this permit invalid, it does not invalidate the entire permit.
Oh, there you go.
That might be something.
You want that in here too?
Seems like something that should go in there. Been a lawyer.
There you go.
This would be sitting here though, then probably be sitting somewhere else.
I'm glad you're here, Dan. All right. That's something to keep in mind. Yeah, if I ever have the city attorney's ear, I can
Yeah,
ask him
okay,
about
perfect.
that.
Yeah, perfect.
We haven't had yeah, okay. All right, this order shall apply to successor and any successor and control of successor and interest of the property. Does anyone know the difference in successor and control or successor and interest?
Do not.
We're just gonna hold on to it for now.
Good plan.
Okay, so
You have somebody overseeing that trust. They have an interest, but they have control, but not interest.
sure. Okay, so pre-construction of conditions, the commission discussed wanting an erosion control sketch. That was the phrasing chosen. Basically not like a formal plan set. After the erosion control sketch has been reviewed and approved, we'll provide a minimum 48-hour construction notice, at which time all and maybe all will come out on a pre-construction site visit to ensure the limit of work and erosion controls are correctly located. This is like trying to mirror what we do with, we're trying to make this somewhere between a formal order and a DOA, right? Something that doesn't feel like a massive, an over reaction to the scale of project.
They exist separately, right? So the order gets recorded in the determination of applicability does not get recorded, right?
That is such a good question. I was trying to decide about what to do with that. I was thinking of attaching it because I didn't include any information about like location other than 26 Nashawanic Street, but I could put in like essentially, you know, the version of the Easthampton Wetlands Protection Act Form E as like the header of the order.
Yep.
Sounds like you would prefer that.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't think the determination should get recorded.
Okay. Great. So then I need to add a header in here. But it'll be, the DOA will be included in the findings. This is good. This is exactly why I wanted to do this with you all, so that we can make sure, because you know, this is the first
Sure,
one that
sure.
we're showing on
Yeah,
the
sure.
I didn't think we've ever done it, but if we just or we had an ordinance or whatever, if we issued a positive determination of applicability under the Wetland Protection Act, and then the applicant came in with a notice of intent, we did an order of conditions, I think that determination gets lost to history, basically, right? It doesn't get recorded.
I mean, stays in our files.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, it's just something.
Header with property information, applicant.
Another way to get stuff.
Okay, and so I'll mirror, I'm gonna try to keep it a little bit more, again, like a little more minimal than what we have in like a formal order, but just essentially saying, just essentially including this information. I think that's what's really important. The address, the latitude, longitude, the contact information of the applicant.
Map plot.
Map lot.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I can include, so yeah,
Book page.
book page. Yep. Yep. Great. Okay. And so those pre-construction conditions, all right, sketch,
Right.
visit, sign saying, sign with this number. Is that going to be, so it's not, doesn't have a Mass DEP file number. You still think the sign that says EWPO #1.
No one's gonna know what that means.
No one's gonna know.
Will they start to know what that mean? If we-
We're hoping this is a learning opportunity.
That's right, that's right.
I mean, wouldn't it make more sense for the sign to say something like, this project is being overseen by the Easthampton Conservation Commission? If you have concerns, contact or something, you know, like.
I think we're starting, I feel like we're pushing it here.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we either mirror the Mass DEP format or we have no sign, like we wouldn't for an RDA.
Well, I guess I would vote for either a useful sign or no sign, because to mirror it, but have a sign that nobody knows what it means seems kind of silly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, or maybe remove it.
Like, what would the simplest, the fewest letters used, whereas like
So what is the commission hoping, what's the commission hoping to communicate with the sign?
to call you if they have questions.
That's right.
Instead of calling.
Somebody
the police
says, why are they
department.
building on this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's like Easthampton Conservation.
Do you want it to
number
say,
that.
sure, do you want it to
Yeah.
say Easthampton Wetlands Protection Ordinance?
That's too many words.
Easthampton Conservation Commission phone number or something. Easthampton Conservation Commission approved, call this number.
Well, okay, but I don't think so we did this was a public hearing. It was in the paper.
Sure.
It was on our publicly posted agenda.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If people.
What are we trying to
Well, they're gonna call anyway if they have a question, right?
If they see them working,
Regardless of the sign,
that's,
if they,
Well, if they see the sign and they wonder if it's approved, and they'd be like, oh, it's approved, I don't need to call.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
shows that that there is a permission here.
There's oversight.
Yeah.
Sure.
so if you put ECC and then EWPO number one.
Oh, boy, yeah, right.
Go to this URL to look up what those are.
I mean, I think we could. Mass DP file numbers have, for those in the know, I'm sure you guys
Yes,
drive
yeah.
around the Commonwealth and see them everywhere.
Everybody knows what they are. Yeah.
And you know what they are, but not everybody, like people who know, people who know,
Mhm.
people who don't
Mhm.
know.
But still, it's
Could
a
this,
standard. It's a standard.
do we want to try to make this a standard in the city?
It'd be more official.
Where
I
would,
mean, official.
to say EWPO-1.
We gotta start a different number. We gotta start at like 72 or something. Like you've been doing something.
We don't have to.
On the signs for a while, see if it becomes a problem.
But like, I think it lends a little bit of credibility
Right,
too, because, maybe neighbors or somebody that doesn't know anything might be like, oh, that's a great idea. Look what they're doing with their backyard, and then just do it without asking. But if there's a sign up that
You're like,
says,
oh, maybe I need a
if
permit.
it says Easthampton Conservation Commission,
Which a reminder
File,
that this
permit
property would have been
number.
caught by building permit system,
01.
right? Like if,
Right,
if,
right,
if
right.
she hadn't reached out
Yep.
for pre-building
Sure.
a console, it would have been caught by the building
Yeah,
permit. Because I would have had to sign off on
Yeah,
it.
you'd have to sign off.
Yeah. But if it was like a less than 200 square foot structure or whatever, then.
Not everybody does building permits either.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So we like the sign. Do you want me
I
to
think we
put-
should do a sign. I think we should.
Easthampton Conservation Commission. Number 001 or whatever it is, simple enough.
All right, I don't think, why not put the actual name? Oh, because Mass DP file number. Because it's DP. Okay,
DEP doesn't say DEP Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, it just says DEP file number.
You're supposed to know what it is.
So you give a Conservation Commission file number.
Easthampton Conservation Commission EWPO-1.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
For the duration of construction.
26-1.
We're not gonna make her leave it up until we get our rain garden reports.
Okay.
Okay, she has to record it at the Hampshire County Registry of Deeds. And then issuance of a building permit shall not be approved by the Conservation Commission until the pre-construction requirements are met. Are there anything we're missing in the pre-construction conditions?
It's helical piles. It's not gonna be an invasive process here. Just equipment, and it's a pretty clean, situation with the helical piles.
Yep.
There's no foundation, there's no footers, there's no digging, there's no, just drill them in.
It's true.
It's just equipment disturbing the lands and making sure that that is taken care of.
Like you're wondering about any of the conditions around equipment storage or anything like that? No.
No, just driving a track vehicle out there to put the piles in, that's all. They're gonna disturb something, moving around, they're gonna disturb something, so. you can see-
Erosion controls.
Just erosion controls, that's all. It's
Well, I
simple.
think that was in there, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it's in there, yeah, it's already
Okay.
built in, so I'm not worried about it, yeah.
Anything else?
Well, they're removing 3 trees.
Yep, and that's noted up here in the approved work. The work shall also improve removal of 3 trees. So we note that. Okay, and then the post-construction conditions that we need 2 full years of growing reports with details imaging the progress of the rain garden plantings, just to make
Okay.
sure it
Right.
doesn't become like a bare mud pit.
Mhm.
The commission shall require adequate establishment of native plants in the rain garden. How do we like that vague language? You guys want to throw a number down?
75%.
Do we want to do that? 75%
Success.
establishment of native plants versus invasives.
I would hope so for a rain.
Yeah, okay, so okay.
Not to mention that this is her art studio.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right.
not to mention that she's
Alright.
like a horticulturist.
75% establishment of native plants.
Let's try it. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I think they're gonna do the right
Do we
thing.
want to suggest that she, lets us know what the planting list is ahead of time, so.
Here, we have it.
Okay.
We have it.
Alright.
Let's see here.
So you have to read.
Ooh, sorry. I can change that to survival. There's her rain garden. Dan, can you read that okay?
Lily, the false lily, and Spania sedge, Christmas fern, and Easthampton fern.
Perfect. All right.
Do we need to know how many?
No.
5 of this or?
No. Completion of construction, files for stabilization and monitoring, the permittee, their successors and assigns shall submit the following to the Conservation Commission to request a certificate of compliance and completed request for certificates compliance form. I just realized as I wrote this order that I need to come up with an Easthampton specific certificate of compliance form.
There you go.
Because we're not closing out a DEP file number order here.
Right.
2 years of rain garden vegetation reports.
Okay.
Anything else, Commission, that we might need from this order?
Do we want anything around invasives?
Yeah, in perpetuity conditions. That's a great question.
Alright,
2 years seems like a lot in this case, but
Do you want to change that? I don't think we made a complete, like, do basically if she builds it this year. Do we want,
full,
yeah,
One growing season.
yeah.
1 growing season? Should we change it to 1?
Why do you think 2 years is too much? Because it's such a small project.
Yeah.
So we told her to.
Well,
I could just say 2 years, and then if we get a partial season this year, which we're probably fine.
And then leave it 2.
Shouldn't even have a contract yet.
yeah, nothing's
Probably next year.
nothing's growing this year.
Summer's almost over. All right, in perpetuity. So do we want our language? Let's go back to and look at what we do for in perpetuity typically. So again, small scale project, right? I don't think we need to go super in depth here. Do we want to give her like this continued monitoring and management of non-native invasive plant species shall be continued on site to prevent the spread? Or do we think,
Can you move that so you can see the whole pack?
yeah,
So I thought we discussed it with her that for part of her relief, she was gonna manage the invasives.
yeah, she's planning on managing I think we're not actually granting her a formal relief process here because she's taking the pathway through the buffer zone. She's taking the pathway through the buffer zone performance standards. That means that she's managing her stormwater in the outer buffer zone. And so you can do it. Hi, Heather. Thank you. No, you're great. Right. So, she's not actually applying for relief now in her current location. She is planning on managing the invasives, and we did note that higher up in the order.
But wasn't that even her request?
Yes.
Because it's not even in the project area.
Yeah, right. It's outside of the project area. And that was included in here. Manual invasive plant management.
Yeah, condition that allows that, you know, in perpetuity, for sure, is worthwhile and encourages that.
Okay.
But doesn't require it.
I mean, I guess we could require it.
I mean, it's such a small area. It seems like if we're trying to are we just trying to come up with the conditions for this project, or are we sort of trying to come up with a
We might
template?
use
for
it as a template going
perpetuity?
forward. We might use this as
Yeah.
the next project,
Yeah.
grab this one and
If it's
adjust
a
it.
template, I think it makes sense to put it in. Her area is so small that I
All
don't
right.
think we have to worry about her.
Yeah, I don't really like making single family residence owners do things in perpetuity
Right.
other than maintain, other than not encroach farther, you
Right.
know? Like, I don't like the idea of reporting and like it
Yeah,
enforced invasives management, although,
yeah, it's a lot to put on a homeowner.
Mhm.
yeah.
I think then I'm gonna suggest that we leave it out of here. It's, the work includes manual invasive plant management,
so
so
it's already
she's
built
certainly
in.
allowed to do any invasive
Yeah.
plant management. I could even take the work, just manual out of it, so that if she at some point wants to work with a contractor,
Okay,
that's in here. Invasive plant management as well as native plantings. And not require her, because the conditions are really to require her to do things.
Yeah, but an in perpetuity condition can allow them to do continued maintenance, you know, in the future.
So something like,
But would we want to allow another homeowner to do, like, I don't know, like if somebody else, she's very sort of conscious about all these things, but if another homeowner came in and said, we just want to rip out all the invasive species and we're gonna have somebody just come in and rip it all out. And they didn't. And they said, we have a thing that says we're allowed to do this, but they didn't come before us and they just went in with tractors and things and all that. That would be great.
Yep. Well, we could, if we, you know, if we had that thing about hand management of invasives, we could just continue that in the in perpetuity conditions as well.
so keep the equipment out of the
continued
management.
monitoring and management of non-invasive shall be conducted on site to prevent the spread within the project area.
Mhm.
What do you think about putting in the manual thing?
I think we can. I mean, I think we've had projects in the past come in front of us and be like, we want to do some invasive plant management. And we used to have an in perpetuity condition that prohibited non-organic herbicides and pesticides. And that was challenging because we had both things there. And I think we've used this condition in the past to be able to say, yeah, you can manage your invasive species. Thanks for asking us. But like, go for it because it's allowed by your order and we don't need to do anything else.
Yep.
So I'm kind of inclined to leave manual out of it, just
Okay.
to say that
We could just, we say that. Yeah, like,
this is our standard condition.
Sure.
Do we want it as a shall, I guess is my question. Can be. And this is also, do you want to do within the site?
I mean, could it say something like continue monitoring and management of non-native and or invasive plant species shall be permitted on site in perpetuity if, you know, in a manner that does not protects or does not disturb the wetland resource areas.
sure.
Just, and that way it's not so limited in terms of manual or chemical.
Sounds good to me.
And when we say resource areas, are we including bank here? Or are we including buffer here? Or are we just talking about the bank and the boarding vegetative wetland? Now we have,
I think we should just say wetland resource areas. We don't really want to disturb
the buffer zone
any
either.
of the buffer zone.
Okay. Okay.
Resource areas regards to.
Nice.
Any other in perpetuity conditions? I think we state pretty clearly that, you know, we only approve this alteration, et cetera, et cetera. Great. Okay. So I will add in that header with all that necessary like location information, and then I will issue this certified to her. And I appreciate her patience in this. And thank you all for taking the time to look at that closely with me. That's it for ongoing projects.
All right, so general business?
Yeah.
We have minutes from 7:27.
I read them. They look okay.
I read the new one.
Were you okay with them?
As long as he's okay, I'm okay.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Can I get a second? The motion carries.
Still vote yes.
Yes, you can vote.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Great.
Any other general business items to talk about?
No other general business items.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
I.
Motion carries.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.